The people who hurt you will not be the people who heal you. In this compassionate chat, I want to explore a painful truth that has become clear to me recently around healing. It is not likely what you have thought or even what you would want, but it will lead to a more positive outcome. Welcome back. I'm Michelle from happyhealthyher.com. And if you have been following my channel, you might have realized that at the end of 2024, I was struggling with closure. And I posted several videos on the topic of closure because it just was something that was constantly on my mind as I felt like I was wrapping up old wounds. And what I came to realize was that I was actually finishing up a number 9 year, which is all about ending cycles and having karmic closure. And then I realized that for 2025, the collective is in a number 9 year. So that means really all of us in some regards are working on wrapping up cycles. Hopefully we're doing that in healthy ways where we can put the painful lessons we've had behind us and start fresh. And that is why I really wanted to talk about this today. This thing that has come into my awareness that I've kind of pushed away, I've kind of struggled with, and now I surrender with because I realize it is such a potent and powerful truth. And again, I'll restate it. The people who have hurt us are not going to be the people who heal us. We will be blessed, we all are, with soulmate friends, soulmate connections, beautiful mentors, kind, loving collaborators who are going to show up and be part of our healing, be part of our transformation. They didn't have anything to do with the harming of us, but they will be part of the medicine that heals us. Now for me, this has been hard because I tend to take a very logical cause and effect way of thinking of things. When I think of karma, I think the person who does the bad thing then has to atone for the bad thing, and they need to atone with the person they did the bad thing with. It doesn't work out that way, not at all. And for a variety of really good reasons that probably are beyond my full ability to comprehend and clearly articulate. But I think many, many times the reality for that is the people who hurt us are very emotionally unaware. They're very unavailable. They are probably immature. They're not doing their work. They maybe are narcissistic or deeply insecure. They have their own wounds. And so when they hurt you, it may be part of your catalyst for your own growth, but the process of them hurting you is not going to be remedied by them. And for us to wish for that is very normal, but you have to sort of give up that fantasy because it very, very rarely happens that people who are hurtful and emotionally immature are actually going to evolve fast enough to be able to come back into your life and heal the wounds they've caused in you. So this is, of course, especially true if you are someone like myself who has lived with narcissistic abuse. It is very well known that narcissists do not tend to heal. They do not tend to ever look at their own behavior. They don't take accountability or responsibility. So the narcissists who have wounded us are not going to show up and apologize and fix the damage they're done. It's just not going to happen no matter how much we fantasize about it. And the truth is, even if they did, if that wound is deep enough and strong enough, meaning like it's had enough years to percolate, and they did so many layers of things, because that's usually how it is with narcissistic abuse. It's not just a one-time instance. It's many things that have piled up and that they have done. A simple apology is not going to cut it. And so their karma is no longer tied to you per se. They will face their karma, but it's not going to be directly related to you. So they're going to get they get their own things. They have their own things that happen to them. And you may not even know about them. But trust me, I asked Spirit one day to explain this to me, and something very quickly happened to someone that was very karmic, and very, very freak. Like, this person didn't get hurt physically, but they had a lot of damage to their personal possessions, we'll say. The likelihood of this ever happening was very, very, very rare. And so I took that as karma shows up in ways that we can't necessarily understand. And it's maybe not logical and maybe not linear, but it does happen. And so the same thing happens with spiritual support. And the people who are our soulmates and our romantic partners and our dearest friends, they show up and they do the work of the people that hurt us, meaning they clean up the messes they didn't make. So I hope this is helpful. It's something that really I struggled with because I was talking to my partner, who I've been with for 6 years, and he has helped me so tremendously in working on my boundaries, in working on my self-esteem, in making, just bolstering my self-love and my worth, and having me see myself in a positive way from another person's eyes, when so many years of the narcissists around me were showing me in negative eyes, were showing me in a way that I was so confused. It wasn't me. The me that they were mirroring to me, the me that they were telling me I was not the me I was showing up as. And it was infinitely confusing. And here comes in this person who finally shows me who I am and honors who I am. And he picked up the baton, by the way, of my best friend who had been doing it for years. But it's an interesting dynamic that, friendships sometimes are a different level. And my friend is someone I don't get to see that often. So now when the universe brings me this romantic partner who I see and talk to far more readily, it's like that healing balm was there and available to me, and so beautiful. But I was struggling in talking with him about the fact that I feel like he got a version of me that was, I want to use my words carefully, damaged, not as shiny as the version of me that I'd probably been in my 20s, because I'd been through so much narcissistic abuse over a 17-year period. And he saw me sort of as I was on my rise up. I'd been working a lot on self-love, and that's a very strong reason why I think I called him into my life. I was ready for him. And then he kind of just bolstered me up from where I was and sort of showed me, it was okay to have boundaries. So this is what I said to him, I was so much sweeter. I was so much nicer. I was so much more accommodating 20 years ago. I was so much, in my mind, it was like a better version of me. And he shook his head and he said, no, that version of you sounds really boring. And I don't think I'd be attracted to that version of you, because the version of you are now has a different level of power and confidence and clarity that I'm attracted to, that he finds that appealing. And it really made me pause, because I thought, oh my gosh, I was seeing this in such a distorted way. I was still seeing, I think, in some ways through the lenses of the narcissistic people who had been sort of framing my view. And he wouldn't let me see it that way. He wanted me to see the clarity of me being my authentic self, me having boundaries and not being a doormat, and owning my truth and my power is way, way more appealing, way more attractive than passive doormat me. And I agree, actually, now. I think, wow, that really is true. But I had sort of believed the societal programming again that, the good girl wins out. The good girl is what everybody wants. The person who's just agreeable and is bending over backwards for everyone. That's the model. But it's very interesting that when you really talk to someone, a man who's in their full power, who's actually living their divine masculine, they want a divine feminine who's in her full power, because you really can't have a healthy relationship without the two. I am by no means an expert on the concepts of feminine and masculine energy, but what I come to understand about it is that everybody needs a balance, and being too masculine as a woman means that you're trying too hard. Basically, you're trying too hard and you're doing too much, and you're falling all over yourself, and that's not the role you're meant to play. You're meant to be a receiver. You're meant to have people do things for you in combination. I do not imply that you need to be a taker. I've spoken about that before. I'm very against the concept of being a taker. But receiving and taking are a little bit different energies. Receiving is letting someone help you. Receiving is letting someone support you and love you, letting that energy in. And actually, all genders need to have a balance of receiving and giving. The masculine being the giving and the doing, and the feminine being the receiving and the just being. So the perfect state is the balance, and then you're able to sort of be yourself in a clarity and attract in the relationships that are healthier. So I just think that this is an important thing to understand if you are like me and struggling with thinking that the ideal healing solution is that the people who hurt you come back. It isn't. And instead, the ideal solution is to embrace the people who show up, or the people who have been there all along and never hurt you and always loved you and always had your back, and recognize that and lean into that and feel full gratitude for that, including for yourself, feeling the full gratitude for you showing up and never giving up, and not getting trapped by any particular false narratives or even any wishful thinking. Even just surrendering to the idea of, okay, Spirit, I have no idea what's going on, which sometimes I do have to say. As much as I like to think I have some understanding, more often than not, I need to give up to a higher power, because I really don't know the answer. I don't know what is best. And what is interesting about karma is that a lot of times the best solution is going to show up because you've surrendered and because the timing is right. So we are in this, like I said, this ending cycle. And so it really is time for many of us to wrap up those old wounds and sort of take inventory of our lessons and get really clear on who we are and sort of show up as who we are, with integrity and an understanding that we are worthy of love, we are worthy of optimal health, we are worthy of people who love and respect us and surround us with positive energy, and that is the ideal path forward, is that place of surrendering and knowing your worth and that you are also worthy. So I hope this helped. This is a little bit of a meandering one, but it's something I've been pondering, and I just wanted to share it with all of you. I love you, and I wish you the best. I hope you have happiness and good health always, and I thank you for being with me.